What's up, everybody? So what I'm trying to do here is trying to petition Funko to actually either show up to Denver Comic Con or at least make some Denver Comic Con exclusives. I don't know how long they take to make, and I know it's March now, and I think that the convention's actually in June. So I don't know how long it takes to make them, and I don't even know if they have any plans to actually make them. Anyway, I don't have privy to that kind of information, so I guess just disregard this if you're planning on making some anyway. But what I was gonna say is I know that I have like friends in bands and stuff like that, and they just kind of like to go on the coast, just like hit up the things on the coast because it's easier for them to travel that way. And so I don't know if that's a reason why they don't come to Denver or anything like that. I know that Kid Robot comes to Denver, and some of the other toy manufacturers, and I always check them out when they're there. It'd be really nice if Funko actually showed up too. What I was told is that last year it was the Majin Buu, the chocolate Majin Buu was the Denver exclusive. But truth be told, I saw those online for sale way before that convention happened. What I think that they actually were was one of the retailers made them and then just kind of traveled around to the conventions and just put them out when they were at the conventions. I don't think that that was a specific to Denver thing. So as far as I know, I've not seen any Denver Comic Con exclusives, and I don't think that Funko's ever actually set up a booth in Denver. But if you make one of these exclusives that I have here, I'll work the booth for you. I'll actually set up shop and I'll sell them for you. like that's assuming that you're doing it next year, because it's a little too short a notice for this year. But just take that for what it is. I offered to try to make it easier on you, and I'll try to take that for what it's worth. Anyway, so I'm gonna go from my least to most favorite ones that I have here. I have 7 exclusives that I think would be really cool to see. Now, I know that the conventions have some kind of underlying theme sometimes. I know that San Diego Comic-Con is just whatever's the new hotness is that's what they're gonna sell. But things like the New York Comic-Con, I was like, why Shredder? Last year, and then I was like, oh well, you know what, Shredder, he operates either out of New York or Dimension X, I guess, depending on when you're watching it. But that's probably why New York. And I do remember that they had a New York Comic-Con exclusive of there were Dorbs of the 4 Ninja Turtles that were in the comic book style. They weren't colored in or anything like that. This is kind of how they were in the old school comic books, the Eastman and Laird comic books. So I think that there is some kind of underlying theme to them, and I know for sure the Emerald City Comic Con, they kind of center around like a green theme, like their green chrome Batman, and even the Cuphead boss, he was a plant, so green. Yeah, so I mean, and then the Care Bear, like it's a green Shamrock one. Yeah, so I mean, I kind of think that was probably intentional, or just a really big coincidence, maybe. I don't know. But so these ones are ones that have actually ties to the Colorado and Denver area, for whatever reason, things that I think that Denver people would like to see. Again, least to most favorite. My number 1 favorite is going to be at the end. So if you make that one, like, I will, I'll break down and cry. I promise. Anyway, so number 7, Mork from Mork and Mindy. He actually lived in Boulder on the show, and that was played by Robin Williams, and I think that ever since his passing, it's affected a lot of his fans pretty deeply, and I think that they'd really like to have a live action pop from Robin Williams to kind of remember him by. I know that the Genie Pops were really sought after shortly after his passing, and this would be nice because it is actually a live action portrayal, and it was one of his first. It was one of his first projects. It's pretty much what made him famous, and so it has the connection to Boulder, which isn't too far from Denver, and so Mork from Mork and Mindy would be number 7. Number 6, the Denver Convention Center bear. It's the bear outside of the convention center. He's like peeking into the building. It's actually a project called I See What You Mean, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to have a bear, and he has his paws kind of pressed up against the outside of the box, and he's kind of looking out of the box. You can make like a 6-inch oversized pop exclusive of him, just kind of looking out of the window of the box. I thought that would make a really good pop, and it wouldn't really draw up any interest outside of Denver, so it'd be probably only good for having at the convention center. And the convention center is where the Denver Comic-Con has been held, I believe, ever since the second year that they had it. So that there's that, it kind of references the actual Comic-Con itself. Number 5, this one's on the other side of the spectrum. It's called Blue Mustang. It is a horse that's outside a DIA. It's blue and it has these glowing red eyes. And Luis Jimenez, the sculptor of it, I think he died while trying to move it. It's a very scary looking horse, and and just the people in Denver have actually nicknamed it Blucifer, and so I'm thinking that there's nothing more Denver than like a DIA creepy conspiracy thing. So then number 4, Hunter S. Thompson. Now I know that they have a line of pops called the Books. That's what the Cthulhu's under. It's under Pop Books. But I don't think that there's a whole lot more than that. And so I think that having Hunter S. Thompson, he's an author, and he was a very prominent figure up in the Aspen area. He ran for sheriff. He didn't get elected, but he got a lot of popularity through that. And he's actually been portrayed in 2 different movies. First by Bill Murray in Where the Buffalo Roam, and then more famously even than that was by Johnny Depp in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So even if you don't want to just portray the author himself, like maybe like a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas pop, that'd be pretty cool. I know that Fear and Loathing definitely takes place in Las Vegas and LA primarily, but again, Hunter S. Thompson's a pretty prominent figure up in the Aspen area. So then number 3, Danny Torrance, Apollo 11 shirt. Now there's a documentary called Room 237, and if you really want to go down the rabbit hole on Shining stuff, like things about the movie The Shining, so first and foremost, you almost have to accept the fact that that most people believe that that Stanley Kubrick is admitting to faking the moon landing, and The Shining was his kind of mea culpa, like just kind of like his confession for faking the moon landing. And there's a scene where Danny's playing, and then I think that the twins throw a ball to him, and when he's standing up, he has this Apollo 11 sweater is really an unusual sweater, but like a lot of people think that has something to do with faking the moon landing or something like that. Regardless of what that is, I think that it's kind of a funny nod, because The Shining takes place in Colorado and at the fictional Overlook Hotel, and so they already have really cool Shining pops. There's a chase figure where Jack Torrance is frozen, and I have that one, and I love it. It's like it was like one of my favorites. I saw it on the shelves, and I was like, I'm gonna make it work to get this one. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but I loved that Shining one. And so they pretty much have all of them, but I just thought, maybe the Apollo 11 one, just as a nod to all of the Room 237 documentary. I just thought that might be interesting. And then for number 2, Lloyd Christmas, and I guess Harry too from Dumb and Dumber. But I think that Lloyd has some of the best outfits in there, and I'm kind of leaving it open-ended, like his Aspen outfits. He's got the one where it's him in like ski clothing, and he has like the boots with the furs. There's one where he's a cowboy. And then there's of course the tuxes. Everybody loves the tuxes. So you could even make like a 2-pack of the Harry and Lloyd tuxes if you have the licenses or whatever. And so I'm just gonna say Aspen Lloyd Christmas. My favorite would be the boot with the furs, like when he's throwing the money around to the valets and stuff like that. That's one of my favorite. And that scene was actually filmed at the Stanley, I believe. I'm pretty sure that scene, and then also the bar scene where he walks out and screams at everybody that they landed on the moon. I'm pretty sure both of those are actually at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park. So another awesome nod to Colorado. And then number 1, this is my number 1 favorite, is would be like a Casa Bonita Cartman. So, for those of you that don't live in Denver, Casa Bonita is a real restaurant, and South Park made an episode where Cartman goes to just obscene lengths to get to go to this restaurant called Casa Bonita, and Casa Bonita is an actual restaurant, and he calls it the Disneyland of Mexican food restaurants, and there's no better way to describe it. There's cliff divers there. There's a little haunted house area called the Black Bart's Cave. They have puppet shows and piñatas and arcades and things like that, and it's something to behold. It has kind of a stigma because it hasn't aged well. I'll just put it that way. And some people don't like the food, but I mean that's not really why you're going there. You're going there to experience it. And so I think that being from a small town in Colorado like Cartman, when somebody said that they're going to have a birthday down at Casa Bonita, you would go to pretty obscene lengths to try to get them to invite you too, because it was such an awesome thing to be able to first go to the city, like Denver, but then also to go to Casa Bonita, which was again the Disneyland of Mexican food restaurants. I'm pretty sure that's how he phrases it, but that's not too far from the truth. And so there is like one part where he's the police are after him. I don't want to spoil it, but the police are after him, so he has to go through the restaurant as fast as he can. And by the way, very good attention to detail. I know all the spots where they're trying to portray. But he goes into this photo booth, and he puts on a cowboy hat and a mustache. And so I think that would make probably the best variant of like the South Park, where it's Casa Bonita Cartman. And so that would be my ultimate favorite. And again, if you make the Casa Bonita Cartman, I will set up a booth at at the Denver Comic Con, and I'll sell him. Like, you know, so you guys don't even have to come down if you don't want to. Like, as long as you're willing to take my word for it. But yeah, so Casa Bonita Carmen. But regardless, show some love to the Denver area. I'm humbly petitioning, you know, and give us some exclusives. And we'd love to meet you guys. So, like, there's a huge Denver pop collecting community, and I feel like you know, it would mean a lot to a lot of people if Funko did actually come. You know, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, or like I said, maybe you already are planning to. That would be great. But if you don't think that the Denver Comic Con is a big deal or anything like that, it's getting bigger all the time, and just do yourself a favor and like go to the entrance of it, like before it opens up. There'll be like 8 or 9 lines, like nobody knows where to go. You know, there's lines that are wrapping around the whole convention center, and the convention center is huge. So there's all these people just all over the place, and you know, it's hard for me to picture that this isn't on, you know, like a mainstream, you know, convention radar. And so, like I said, I humbly petition you to actually come to Denver and make us some pops, or just come, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm gonna be posting my normal video on Thursday, but this was just an extra because I just thought of this while I was doing it. I thought it'd be a good little project for me to try to plead my case that Denver needs its exclusives. Thanks again.